And I really believe that when you're working for an organization as a volunteer or as a professional, you really need to have a good grip on what the mission is of the organization. If you believe the mission in your heart and soul, then you're going to be really, really good at telling the story, okay? Fundraising is simply telling the story with passion. Good things about a mission. A mission statement, has anybody been through a process where you've worked on a mission statement? Okay, was it grueling? Some people have come away from those situations like, oh, I don't ever want to do that again. I've heard people say, we spent 6 days working on our mission statement. Okay? Well, what we're going to do tonight is spend about 6 minutes working on your mission statement. Okay? What I want you to do is just take a couple minutes and look at the blue sheet. There are 3 things that your mission statement should contain: what you do, whom you serve, and why you do it. So I just want you to take a minute and individually fill that out. So if you were to take this and make a mission statement for Dollars for Scholars, the good news is they have one that you all can adapt for your chapter.
Iowa Dollars for Scholars' mission is to mobilize Iowa through scholarships and educational support to make post-secondary education possible for all students, and that mission is now more important than ever.
Anybody point out the who, what, why of this? What do you do? Scholarship and educational support. And why do you do it? To make it possible. And who do you do it for? For all students. So this mission statement is excellent. It covers all the things that you want to cover in a mission statement. It tells you what you do, why you do it, and who you serve. Talk about a vision. Does anybody know the difference between your mission and your vision? I know it gets confusing sometimes when I know, like, what's the difference? Why do we have a mission and a vision? This is very concrete. And your vision is more of where do we want to go? Okay? Who do we want to be? Many of you mentioned who you want to be in your introductions. We want to be an endowment-driven chapter. We want to be fully sustainable by endowment. Okay? You have visions for where you want to go. But I really want you to take a minute and think about what's our vision for our chapter. Where do we want to go? What do we want to, many of you rotate off the board, some of you stay on the board. But where do we want to go? Where do we want to leave this organization when we go on in 3 to 5 years? I want to give you an example of the difference between the two, just so you get a sense of what should the difference really be? How can I make this work? Because sometimes that concrete example is going to help you a little bit, okay? The Charitable Giving Resource Center, CGRC, our mission, okay, is that we provide strategic advice and services to nonprofit organizations and philanthropic individuals to help them achieve their goals. Who we serve, why we do it, and what we do. Our vision is to be the premier organization that you all turn to for advice and services. We don't want you to think of anybody else. Are we there yet? No. That's our future state, to be that premier organization. Not necessarily tweaking the words a ton. So when you go back to look at the mission of Dollars for Scholars, there may be some things you can do with this to tweak it to help this go toward your mission and your vision. Truly believe that if you don't know what the mission of this organization is and what the vision is, which is where are we going, mission is what do we do, who do we serve, and why do we do what we do. The vision is what do we want to be when we grow up, where do we want to go, okay? If we don't know those two things, it's very difficult to raise money, and to engage volunteers. The great thing is that the Iowa Dollars for Scholars has a mission statement. Okay, what you do, why you do it, and who you serve. And I think the coolest thing is who you serve. And we talked a lot about that you serve all students, not just the premier students, right? And not just, but all levels of students. And that, when we talk in a little bit about volunteers, opens up the floodgates for volunteers and for prospective donors as well. Because I can't tell you, when I knew about Dollars for Scholars, when you hear that word scholar, we all think. I'm thinking up here, okay? So when we tell people, this is for all students, every student. We also talked about the vision, and your vision really can be something that you as a chapter work on. Because I think each chapter is in a little bit different place, and we found that out last week for sure. Some of the chapters live off their endowments. Some of us have that as our vision, that we want to live off the endowment, and that we don't even want to spend that anything but the earnings off the endowment. That's our vision for the future. That's the kind of chapter we want to have. What do we need to do to get between here and there? And that's creating the plan that we're going to talk about. Okay? But that's something then that we talked about, that each chapter may want to take a look at, what the vision is for that chapter. Maybe it's that this chapter that I'm working in can simply just raise this amount of money, and we're going to offer this amount of scholarships. And that's okay.